Parshas Tezavah. There's an old Yiddish story about this farmer who came to an inn. Right, he was on the road and he came to an inn late at night, and he says to the innkeeper, "Do you have a bed for me?" The innkeeper says, "Listen, I'm all sold out. So what am I going to do? I don't have a place to get to." He says, "Listen, there's one room that I gave to a Russian general, and you tell me if you're ready to get up early tomorrow morning and get out. He'll never realize he's sleeping, stomach drunk. He won't know that you were ever here, and it's fine." He says, "Okay, so you gotta wake me up early in the morning before dawn. Wake me up, and so I'll be on my way." So early in the morning, the innkeeper, true to his word, comes in and he wakes him up, and the guy gets dressed, runs out, and he goes to the train station, and he notices something very strange. Everybody makes way for him. They all stand reverently in the side. Everything is all right. So he doesn't say what's going on. He walks over to a mirror, and he says, "That idiot of an innkeeper! I told him to wake me, and he woke the general." Okay, old Yiddish joke, okay? But there's a lot of truth to it. There's a lot of truth to it. Very interesting. Rashi tells us about the Kohanim. Bizman shebigdeim aleim. It is a few times in the parsha. When they wear their clothes, kulanasam aleim. Ain bigdeim aleim, ain kulanasam aleim. If their clothes are not, it's not their clothes, they're not Kohanim. What does this mean? What's pshat? How can it be? The clothes make the man. Oh, come on. What does that mean? So the pasuk says, "Vasisa bigdei kodesh le'aron achichu levanav lekavod u'letifares." Right? Says the Gra, what does it mean, kavod and tiferes? It says we find in Megillas Esther that it says, "Laros es osher kavod malchuso ves tiferes gedulaso." Achashverosh was showing off Osher Kvod Malchuso and Tiferes Gedulaso. Says the Gra, what does that mean? He says, you have a ben and you have an Eved. He says, a ben, let's start off with the Eved. With the Eved, right, it doesn't set him or give him any benefit to be the Eved of a good man. Doesn't give him anything. If he's the Eved of a king, then people are going to respect him, because if you're the Eved of the king, so everybody's going to respect you and stand up for you and take care of you, right? He says, but a ben, to him it's chashuv if my father's a good man, my father's a special man. So that makes me something. It says, kavod is malchus. It's honor, it's respect, right? That's the periphery. Tiferes is a description of the etzem of the person, right? And therefore, by osher, it's malchus, it's power, right? By the osher kvod malchus, or the kavod, it's malchus. That shows power. It shows, right, the periphery. But tiferes is gedula. So is the etzem gedula of the person. The big day kahuna were there for both. Big day kahuna were there because it brought out the etzem of what the Kohen represented. At the same time, it was also a kavod, right? That through that, it created an aura. Sefer HaChinuch says, in the Big Dekuna, it should be so glorious and so special that people should respect the Avodas HaKodesh. Gemara says in things about Basra, Lama, why is it that the clothing of Tamir Chacham in Bavel is so special and so nice? Because they wouldn't respect the person for the excellent fact that he is Torah. They're not B'nai Torah, but they see that he walks around, he looks mechubad. That's what they respect, right? In Eretz Yisrael, they said the fact that the person is Torah, that Be'etzim gives him the cover, right? It gives him the standing. That's the difference between covenant and Tiferes. Big Day couldn't have to have both. And that's why the Big Day Kahuna were so important. Because the Big Day Kahuna were there to make a person, the Kohen, recognize what I am. I'm Kadosh Baruch Hu Shaliach. I am a Kadosh Baruch Hu's agent to do the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. So mitzad echad, it's the kavod. I have to show myself as the glory that people should recognize. But it's tiferes. It's for me. That when I wear these clothing, that then I am inspired to become to be a person that lives up to what these clothes represent. But there's one area, different Mefarshim talk about that you have the mitznefes and the tzitz, and then you have the clothing, right? You have you have the michnasayim, 3 different levels of clothing for different things, each one to show a different aspect of what the Kohanim have to work on. There's I saw this in the not the Malbim, but no, I forgot who it was, but he's one of the Rishonim who also who points this out. Fine, but there's one thing missing. One thing that's missing is the Kohanim didn't wear shoes, right? You'd never have a king walks around without shoes. What's the clothing for the feet? Gemara says that the Kohanim had a big problem. They used to get colds and they used to have get sick because they were always walking around without shoes, barefoot. And if they have something on their feet, it's no good. Where's the clothing for the feet? The answer is that the clothing for the feet is the Mishkan or the Mikdash. That's the clothing for the feet. Why? Because you have to be in touch with where you are. Yeah, you're in a Makom Kadosh. It's not just that you're surrounded by a Makom Kadosh. You've got to be touching the Makom Kadosh. That's the clothing for the feet. And that's why there's a connection that the Big Day Kuna can only be worn in the Beis Hamikdash. Because the completion of a Kohen is the clothing that I wear that inspire me and make me stand out. But I'm in the Mikdash. I'm part of the Mikdash. I'm connected to the Mikdash. The place where I am makes me special. Because this is a Makom Kadosh. Right? Like when we take to Moshe Rabbeinu, Admas Kodesh, you take off your shoes. There's a connection to the place itself. The Mikdash is the clothing for the feet. That's what gives us the connection. And that's something very important. That's why, yes, there's an Indian of wearing mechubadik clothing when you go to daven to the Rabbi Shalom. You should feel, this is where I'm going to daven. But go to a shul. Be in a Beit Knesset. Be in a yeshiva. Be in a place where Makom Kadosh. Be connected to the Makom Kadosh. That's the clothing for your feet. That's what makes you part. That's what connects you. That's the other connection. The clothing, but the place. Chashivas of a place that's Kadosh makes tremendous difference in the whole attitude and the whole way that I behave and the whole way that I feel. That's what part of the lesson of Parshas Tezavah. The clothing, covenant tiferet, but in a Makom Kadosh, be connected to a Makom Kadosh. Without any separation from a Makom Kadosh, that makes a difference in the whole way that I behave, and that I'm inspired, and that I'm able to conduct myself. Shabbos.